Okay guys, so today I wanted to do a quick deck profile on my Qliphorts. Now, the only reason why I say this is because I don't have an extra deck ready for this, even though you hardly use one. So this kind of is beneficial in any case. But it's good to have an extra deck because you never know what you're going to face. So I'm going to show you the deck, explain a couple of choices that I've added in as far as tech choices go. And without further ado, here is Qliphorts. To start off, of course, we've got the vanilla engine, which is 2 Scouts. Hope you all can see that. And 1 Monolith, because you can only run 2 Scouts. That's the only reason why I added the Monolith. And plus, because Monolith is that good, you can easily get a plus for each Qliphort that you tribute during that turn. My best bet, don't run any more than 1. Some decks ran 2 that I've seen, but the best bet, just run 1. Because you never know what you're going to get on that turn. You never know what you're going to be pendulum summoning that turn, just to go off of your Qliphort plays. But Monolith is definitely a good tech choice to have, especially with Scout. Especially if you have the right stuff in your hand and in your extra deck on board to pendulum summon. So that's it for the vanilla monsters. Now on to the rest of the Pendulum engine, which is 3 Carrier. I've seen some decks run 2, but I like running 3 because of the compulsing effect. 3 Helix. It's basically the MST of the deck, but you have to tribute it in order to use it. And, of course, one of the best Qliphorts in the deck, next to Disk, 3 Stealth. I've seen some decks actually run 2, but I like running 3 because you never know when that Stealth is going to come in handy to you. He's basically your out to a lot of things. And plus, you can easily, and I mean easily, bounce back any card, including Scout. Use Scout again, get out another Qliphort card, and just do some really hefty plays from there because of Stealth's effect. But I'm telling you, this card is one of the most broken out of the bunch. And plus, when he's summoned, he pretty much can't be targeted by any card in the field. So say if your opponent wanted to pop it with an effect, yeah, it's not going to happen. They wanted to constell it. Guess what? Won't happen. 101? Yeah. The only downside is 101 works on special summon monsters. So yeah, that's pretty much, that doesn't count. But other than that, effects of any kind, it can't target it. But you have to use its tribute summon effect in order to use it. Now, for the rest of the engine, we got 3 discs. I know a lot of decks run 1, but because I don't have like 2 extra Trampolynx, that's the only reason why I'm running 3. 2 of them will come out for 2 Trampolynx, even though I do run 1 Trampolynx in the deck. But this card is awesome. Basically, this gives you 2 extra Qliphorts for the price of maybe 1 or 2. Depending on if you have Saqlifice, it should be 1. But Disk is actually by far one of the most underrated Qliphort cards throughout the entire engine so far. Speaking of underrated, 1 Cephalopod. Basically how it works is when it's activated, when it's tribute summoned, you basically deal damage to your opponent times 3, equal to the difference times 300, based on the stuff in your opponent's graveyard. So say if your opponent had that same amount, you gain that certain amount. But at the same time, you deal that same amount to your opponent. So it's benefiting you, but it's also kind of hurting your opponent. But yeah, 1 Cephalopod never really hurts. If I do get another one, I may run it, but for now, I'm just sticking with 1 at a time. Next for the 1-0s, we got 1 Shell. It basically attacks twice during the turn it's tribute summoned. And plus, it deals piercing damage. So it's a really, really broken card. So, but yeah, it's really awesome. Also, one thing I wanted to point out, if you use this during a pendulum effect, it basically reduces the attack points of all your opponent's monsters by 300. Same thing with Cephalopod, same thing with Helix, and via any other Qliphort card that says so. The others, like Disk, Stealth, and Carrier, I believe, they all have your monsters gain 300. So, yeah, this card is awesome, next to every other Qliphort monster. And last for the Qliphorts, we got 1 Tower. I know a lot of people don't run tower as much, but I like running it because it gives you more control, especially during a game-based situation where you just want to just put dampers on your opponent's strategies just to win and just attack with a heavy beat stick. But yes, this card is basically your Egyptian god of the deck. The only way you can get over it, really, like, unless you already had skill drain on board, then that's really no problem at all, because you can easily stop it there. But if you activated it after it was summoned, yeah, skill drain's not really going to help you. But at the same time, yeah, it's going to kind of benefit your opponent if they had a tower. But if it were on your side and you didn't activate it before, tower will help you. This card basically forces your opponent to dump any monster from your opponent's hand or field to the graveyard. So tower is, like I said, an out to pretty much anything depending on how you play. You can do this with 3 tributes for Qliphorts or 2 tributes with Qliphorts if one of them has a Saqlifice, because remember, the Saqlifice counts as 2 tributes. So yeah, really awesome card. And lastly, for the monster lineup, 1 Trampolynx, because like I said, I plan on getting 2 more, but until then, I'm just sticking with what I have in the main. Now for the spells, which shouldn't be a problem at all. 3 Summoner's Art. You need those to get your scouts, usually. I mean, you could use it to get Monolith at times, but mainly Scout, because that's your main thing to go off of. 3 Wavering Eyes. Really good against mirror matches. Good for burn damage and activating every other effect in sequence, depending on how you play it. Basically, the first effect, of course, you deal 500 points of damage to your opponent. Second effect, add a Pendulum monster from your main deck to your hand. So if you wanted to add a Trampolynx, go ahead and add a Trampolynx. You wanted to add another Qliphort monster, add a Qliphort monster. Anything pretty much goes in this case. Third effect, banish card from the field. But in your case, I would say get rid of a card in your opponent's field. And the last one, you just add the same card, Wavering Eyes, which basically explains it all. Here's the downside. With Wavering Eyes, you have to destroy as many Pendulum cards in the Pendulum Zone as possible. So, say if your opponent had maybe 1 or 2 and you had 1 or 2, they're basically gone. So, the amount that's on, they all go. And you have to activate them in sequence. Now for the one-ofs, we've got 1 Laser Qlip. This card, in case you guys don't know what it does, it basically gives you an extra normal summon if you have a Qliphort monster. So, it's really good. 1 Saqlifice, one of the best equipped spells for Qliphorts. You can only run 1 because this and Scout were like really broken, guys. This card basically says, yeah, tributes are basically the new broken stuff in the format. That's basically what Qliphort said. It said, screw 2 monster tributes. I count as 2. So, yeah, you can only run 1. And now for the rest of the one-ofs, we got 1 Raigeki, 1 Book of Moon, and 1 Tech of Limiter Removal, because, yes, a majority of your deck is machines. And say if you had a Shell, this is funny, because I've done this millions of times with Qliphort Shell. He's by far one of my favorites. You do piercing damage, and say if he had, like, maybe 3,100 attack points, because either Carrier or Disk gives him 300, guess what? You're basically dealing 6,200 because it's doubled. So, yeah, it has a lot of outs. And if you had like a whole ton of Qliphorts on your field at that time when you activated limiter removal, guess what? You're gonna be doubling their attacks as well. So yes, they'll be destroyed at the end of the turn, but you can at least scrap a few pieces of their life points off of their chart before they try something next turn, or just game them before they tried anything else. But yeah, limiter removal is your out to a lot of things, and especially if you wanted to get a quick game in, that's it. Limiter removal is a lifesaver. Now for the traps, we got 3 Mirror Force, because it never hurts. It basically saved my ass a bunch of times. And now for the one-ofs, we've got one Climate Change, basically say if you had a Scout in your extra deck that was MST'd and such, you can easily activate this and get back as many Qliphorts in your extra deck as you can. They have to be face up though. So say if you had like maybe 2 Scouts that were MST'd because you can only run 2. Same thing. Activate this, get back your 2 Scouts. So say if one were to get destroyed again, okay, Climate Change pretty much helped me out a lot. So you basically get whatever Qli monsters that you had destroyed in your extra deck, add straight to your hand. Upside can really benefit you in the long run. Downside, they have to be face up. So be careful how you use it, because this card can easily be MST'd and it can be dead at times. That's why you only run 1. One Re-Qliate, good for negating effects of flip effect or basically monster effects that are 4 or above. And plus if they were special summoned, same thing. Now for the rest, we got one Bottomless, one Compulse, one Solemn Warning, one Skill Drain because you can only run 1. I would run a Vanity's Emptiness in here, but I'm sticking with a 40 card build, and yes, as good as Vanity's Emptiness is, I'm not sure what to take out. It may be the limiter removal, I'm not sure what else though. And one Torrential, because never hurts to get rid of your opponent's floaters. Like say if they had a bunch of stuff and you just wanted to just get rid of everything, yeah, Torrential can really help you out a lot. So that's it for the Qliphort deck. I hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a like and favorite if you did, and if you have any recommendations or any other tech choices you want me to add, I'll gladly keep them in mind, and I'll put them as somewhat of an idea for the next deck profile that I'll do, because like I said, I'm going to make some minor changes in the next go around with this deck. So until next time, I'm Smash Adams, and I'm signing out. Peace.